Hey guys, I'm going to be doing a pod test today. Today I have, this is the MOA Scotch Bonnet. The MOA stands for Ministry of Agriculture. This is a true Scotch Bonnet basically. I'd done a review before of a Scotch Bonnet. This is the true phenotype from the Ministry of Agriculture. So I'm imagining it's going to have the similar kind of flavors, but yeah, this is a more pure strain of it. This pod was sent to me by my friend Phil, so thanks a lot. Going to be expecting similar kind of heat to a normal Scotch Bonnet, between I guess 200 to 300,000. A little bit milder, if not around the same benchmark as a habanero. The pod variation seems to be a fair amount on the plant. Like I say, this was grown out by my mate Phil, but he sent me a few pods to try. There's quite a few different shapes of them. I'm going to be testing this one just because to me that's the kind of shape I imagine when I think Scotch Bonnet. Kind of you've got quite a flared top, and underneath you've got not quite a tail, but almost like the inverse shape of the top, but a bit skinnier. They get this kind of mushroom shape. To me, this kind of shape is what I think when I think Scotch Bonnets. They can be a little bit flatter as well. There was this one that he sent me as well. They basically, all the pods look, untrained, they look a little bit different to each other. But they're all very much bonnets. So they can go from a kind of, this is quite a bright yellow, very much still a ripe pod. I got sent these a couple of weeks back actually, and I've been waiting to test them. Some of them can get a little bit more darker orange. The one I'm going to be testing is somewhere in between. So famous for being used in jerk seasoning, Jamaican food, pretty hot pepper. Scotch Bonnets are still one of my favourite chilies, so I've been really looking forward to trying an MOA one, kind of pure strain one of them. So let's have a look what's on the inside. Fair amount of placenta, not too many seeds, medium amount of seeds, amount of placenta. The wall on them is kind of medium thickness as well. I wouldn't say they're thick and they're not thin at the same time. There's quite a decent weight to them. Typical kind of Chinense smell to them as well. As compared to the last Scotch Bonnets that I tried, this MOA doesn't smell really any different. It's quite fruity, tropical, quite sharp Chinense smell in your nose. Yeah, so I guess let's give this a try. It's hot as hell today here in Japan, but this should warm it up a little bit more. Yeah, cheers. A lot to chew on this one. Oh. Huge aroma, really huge. I'd say it's a lot more floral than the normal Scotch bonnets. Yeah, it's a lot more perfumed, and it hasn't got the kind of hasn't got the soft fruitiness that I expect from a Scotch bonnet. It's also a little bit more bitter straight up. It's also the first really hot one I've had of 2015. Been a while since I've eaten fresh Chinense chilies, which I'm going to get more used to as the season goes on, but wow, yeah, very floral, very fruity, a little bit more bitter than normal Scotch bonnets. I'd say a little bit hotter as well. They don't have the fruitiness up front. They don't have that kind of melon or apple tang that I'm used to with Scotch bonnets. They're a lot more floral, and it's quite a lot hotter than I thought it would be. Now it's calming down a bit. It is tasting a bit sweeter. After that initial rush of kind of perfume, it is becoming a lot fruitier. Starting to get that melon flavour. It's not there up front, like I usually get with Scotch bonnets. There's quite a lot of bitterness getting in the way. I know, keep going back to the bitterness, but that's how I find them myself. He is focusing a lot on my gums, particularly along the top, inside top of my gums, as well as frying my tongue quite a bit. It's quite a bit. It is a bit hotter than I'm used to for Scotch bonnets. Scotch bonnets are usually, or at least the ones I've had before, something that I can just eat like candy. It's a lot hotter, a lot more fragrant, less fruity, less sweet. But it is a little bit more complex. There's a little bit more going on there, especially as it goes on a bit. And it's hot today in Japan anyway, but it's making me sweat quite a bit. Really nagging the side of my tongue, as well as the inside of my gums at the front, and it still is, but it feels like it's starting to creep to my lips. And I can feel a little bit of heat in my stomach now, starting to kick up. Not overly acidic, but a little bit bitter, quite floral, a little bit more fruity would be nice. It gets the fruit in the aftertaste rather than it being fruity up front. Up front it's quite floral and bitter. Yeah, now it's progressing. It's definitely becoming more kind of melon aromas, a little bit of mango. There's a slight hint of citrus peel in there as well, but not much. It's definitely more towards the tropical fruit kind of side of things once that floralness dies down. Great chili though. It's bothering my nose quite a bit, bothering my eyes. It's really got my eyes streaming quite a bit more than usual. Gonna be great in cooking. I love cooking with Scotch bonnets. They're still one of my favourite chilies. I'd say the MOA is a little... I keep saying it's more bitter. It is more bitter than Scotch bonnets that I've grown out before. But that doesn't make it any worse, if I'm honest. I think that's going to add a extra kind of depth when you cook with them, in fact. The last Scotch bonnet that I tested on video was almost like a... you don't want to say something's a dessert chili, but yeah, it was getting towards that. It was very sweet and fruity. Plenty of heat to back it up, but no bitterness in there to balance it out. Not as much in the way of floral flavors. And floral flavors are always going to be the first one to kind of cook off, I think. I can remember some of the most overwhelming chilies I've ever eaten are 7 pots, just because they're so floral up front. You cook with them and they're absolutely delightful. Even better, I find, if you dry them. It gets rid of the floral flavors in them and balances them out a little bit. So I think, yeah, typically you're using Scotch bonnets in jerk seasoning, so you're going to be with dark sugar as well as allspice and marinating with chicken. These are fantastic chilies. He sent me a few pods, so I'm going to save some seeds from these, and I will probably grow them out next year because Scotch bonnets. I love Scotch bonnets. I would just say that the MOA is a little bit more bitter than the normal Scotch bonnets I'm used to. Other than that, tasting notes I think are pretty similar. Very enjoyable chili. The heat is kind of nagging in my stomach now. It's pretty much died off in my mouth, other than quite a dull burn on the inside of my mouth, along my gums, as well as the roof of my mouth. But it's quite a dull kind of afterburn. The heat in my stomach is not so dull. Yeah, it's quite hot in my stomach right now as well, geez. But yeah, anyway, I don't think I need to come back and say any more about this one. So that was the MOA Scotch bonnet. Cheers.